It's your girl Kia Jean, just coming to you all today, welcoming you to Queendom. Yes, where we're always adding jewels to your crown. All right, let's start adding. Hey Queens, it's your girl Kia Jean. We are back for another episode on the Queendom podcast. Today we're going to be talking about branding yourself, making sure that you have a first lasting impressions and all that good stuff. So who I have on as a special guest with me today is going to be Felicia Gray. All right, Miss Felicia is one, she's my cousin. Two, she's my sister. Three, she's my mentor. You all, and I just love her to pieces because she does a lot of great things and she do not mind helping women out. That is her specialty. What a lot of people don't know about Felicia is she's from Indiana. She's from the Midwest. She is a boss. You hear me? When you think about bossed up, you think about Felicia. She's a mother, she's a wife, she's a professional, she's a life developer. She is also a business coach. She loves fashion. All right, I just know I'm just going above and beyond about this lady here to my right, but I'm telling you all, she's going to add some jewels to your crown. All right, so let's get started. All right.
What an introduction.
yes, I know. It's kind of hard talking about yourself, so when somebody else talk about you, you be like, oh, okay, yeah.
I'll take those shorts.
Yes. All right. So what started you on your path to success?
So I would say I started really young, at a really young age. I was maybe 2019 where I started working with the youth,
Okay.
mentoring the youth, and really seeing like true potential.
Okay.
I think people just need guidance, and I think I started at such a young age where I would help with grants and I would help them get into college if they kept a certain grade point average.
Mm-hmm.
So my journey started really early, like
Okay.
just helping people get to a certain point.
Okay. So what was your inspiration when you, because we know that you're known for retail management.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your inspiration to get into retail management?
I actually started in the hotel industry
Oh,
before
really?
retail.
Okay.
So when I started out, was in the hotel industry for about 6 years. I managed properties.
Okay.
And then I started in retail for part-time. So it wasn't.
Gotcha.
my
You didn't go
first
straight
lead-in.
into
No, it
okay.
wasn't. But in retail, you learn a lot about women and their personalities and the insecurities that we all have.
Right,
We're dealing
right.
with life and family and just things like that. So I think I'm inspired by people who have thoughts or mind to do things but just don't know where to start.
Okay.
They just need that little push or encouragement to get there.
To get to where
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
So being that you started out in the hotel industry, and then you transitioned over into retail. Let's talk about transferable skills. So we know that there are certain foundational skills that you have that everybody don't know that they can take certain things from one place to
Right.
another place to another
Yeah.
place.
So transferable skills, it could be management,
Okay.
leadership skills, if you have any coaching and development skill of people,
Mhm.
because most organizations, even if you don't have any of the like computer maybe or some of the
Like
application
marketing
things,
and things like that?
if you have leadership, you can get in because they need people who can develop.
Okay.
So they could teach you and you could teach other people.
Okay.
I would say mentoring, if you have organizational skill, time management is huge in companies that can be transferable. Communication, written and verbal.
Okay.
Because a lot, we all know right now, you have to have verbal
Mhm.
communication. So
Yes.
to be able to articulate your thought in a way that it reach or it lands the person that you're talking to.
Okay. So being that we're talking about communication, a lot of people are doing well, let's talk about first impressions first.
Mhm.
So in making a first impression, what does that look like?
First impression starts from how you look. I think it's head to toe.
Okay.
I think the way that you present yourself before you open your mouth or say anything, they see you first.
Correct.
So I think it's the way that you speak, the way that you look, the way that your aura, your disposition,
Mhm.
how you communicate and who you're communicating to. So I think it's important to know your audience.
Correct. So when we're making first impression, so let's talk about the interview because you did say you got to have a lot of communication skills. So when you're doing communication skills and you're over the phone and you're having that interview, how do you market yourself to stand out from other candidates? Because it's a lot easier in person, you know?
Right. I think it's the tone of your voice because that's all they have.
Okay.
They have a very friendly, inviting voice. I think you have to be more engaging over the phone, asking more questions about, the role in which you're applying for and the company itself.
Okay.
I think it's important at the end of each interview, whether it's in person or virtual.
Okay.
I think it's important to ask the interviewer questions about them, like what brought you to the company? How long have you been with the company? What other questions can I ask or clarify about this interview? Is there anything else I could ask or make clear? That puts you, it sets you apart. When you lead an interview, it's not over. Send thank you cards. Thank you for your time. And that's what sets a lot of people apart from just normal interview because people will walk away.
Yes. Okay, great. Those good nuggets, you all. So let's talk. I'm gonna veer away for just a minute because a question came into my mind when you were talking about making the first impression and interviewing over the phone. When an employer is getting ready to interview, can we expound a little bit about our social media, how employers really do go and search you out on social media outlets?
It's actually part of the prerequisite that a lot of applicants don't know about.
Okay.
So they go into Facebook, Instagram, just to kind of see your life and see how you interact with other people. If it's reckless things, like that's part of your brand as well. I know we're gonna get into branding, but that's part of your brand as well. You show your story through what you post on your social media.
Right.
outlets, so.
Yes. So when we're talking about, so now, okay, we've got the interview, we passed the interview, we made that great first impression. Remember, they have called us back and they're offering us the job. There's an art to negotiating a salary,
right,
and a lot of us don't know the art, or we're scared to put a price on our gifts and our talents. Can you just talk to us about that?
I think when negotiating your salary, you have to know your own worth, your own experiences, what you bring. A lot of times when we apply for a position, there is a list of qualifications.
Right.
So if you meet those qualifications, on the employer side, there is a high, mid, low range. You want to figure out those, and there's outlets like what is
you can look up that actual job that you're looking for, right? And do the salary on it. Glassdoor.
So you can go onto Glassdoor. There's other avenues that you can get to it, but the most important thing is to figure out that midpoint, see what other people are saying about the employees, and always raise up 10%. Because you want to meet higher. You can't max out, but you can't get in between mid and high.
Right.
So you want to know exactly what you bring to the table and negotiate it. Do not go with this first salary that they throw out, on you, and just make sure you have to do your research. You got to do the research on the company. You have to do the research because one person can come in and the experience can beat you out of a salary. So this person, you can have meet all the qualifications. I was about to say something. I'm sorry. You can meet all the qualifications, and this one person have an extra year of experience.
They'll beat you out.
Right.
So when we're negotiating, so I've researched and I've done, my 10%. So I know in my mind where I want to be. So we're sitting across from the table and they give me an offer. Do I say, let me get back with you, or do we just start negotiating back and forth right then? Because you already know where you want to be.
Always say, give me 24 hours.
Okay.
Let me think about what you're saying, because you already know what they're offering. You don't want to outbid yourself out of a job. So that's why it's important to do the research, so you're not outbidding. Like you're staying within the range, but you're going up 10% so they can meet you at the salary that you want. So you always say, okay, well, let me think about it for 24 hours. So they can think about some things also.
As well for 24 hours. Yeah. Great. So when we call them back within the 24 hours or email them back, what does that look like when you're counter offering?
Normally it's going to be through sometimes it's through email, but if it's through verbal, you can say, okay, so I went back, I talked over by my husband, or I did more research, or however. But you do want to say, this is kind of what I was thinking about or wanting to come in with. I know through my research, this is what the pay is offering. You can say the knowledge that's out there.
That you know.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and then negotiate that way. So they'll go back and forth. You'll probably 9 times out of 10, and you know it. You'll get exactly the salary that you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just you just have to be back and forth and make sure that you keep it professional.
Because you know your worth.
Yes.
Right. You have to know your worth and know what you can bring. If you know that you're qualified, don't settle for less.
Right. Especially when you know what you're bringing to the table. Yes.
Exactly.
I remember when I was, making my first transition, I had no earthly idea what I was doing about salary, and I had to call on some help from the professional here.
And you got what you want.
I got what I want, because she had to help me. Sometimes we have to reach out to somebody to help us. If you don't know in the beginning, and just and listen to what they're saying. Okay, so let's talk about branding, because you had mentioned it. So we can go ahead and go to branding. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go to branding. Branding. I think a lot of people don't know or really don't understand, especially us as African Americans who are getting into entrepreneurship and starting our career. We don't know how to professionally brand ourselves. Right. So can you expound on that a little bit?
So all branding is, if you just look it up, is the way in which a person or a company market oneself.
Yes.
That's all branding is. I think is the way that we use our social media outlets, how we use our websites, doing pop-up shops, like putting our logos out there, is how you interact with your audience or the said people that you want to buy the product that you're selling. I do think for women, entrepreneurship is very important.
Yes.
I think we spend a lot of money supporting other businesses and companies where we can really be putting that money within our own businesses.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, because right now, since pandemic, there has been a lot of African American entrepreneurs that has started up, and we're more now geared towards I support you, you support me. Let's keep this money funneling in our community. I want to just veer just a little bit from branding, because I think we customer service, like on a on a African American aspect, we don't quite get it fully, especially if you've never worked in retail.
Right.
And I personally always feel like everybody needs to have at least 6 months worth of retail experience under their
change your
belt.
whole life, the way you think about things.
Yeah.
I think it's how we speak. Is even if I'll just use social media when we go live.
Okay.
It's about what the background look like. How you interacting, like how you communicating, how you have it set up. And I see a lot of unprofessional setups on Facebook and Instagram. So if you're gonna brand, like I would say before you get started, do all of what you need to do, from setup, from getting your logo, from getting, having, if you're gonna sell t-shirts, have t-shirts in a way that you can sell them versus this is for $5, $10, $5, like you at a flea market.
I'm just gonna say it's swap meet.
It's weird, but I mean it works for some people. I'm not saying but the longevity of it, I think you need a professional setting so people can take you seriously.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's more about the longevity. That's what I was gonna say. I know your nugget is that you've instilled in us that you mentor is don't step out until you are ready to present yourself 100%. And that's one thing that I take to heart, that I can't start something and not make sure everything is in order. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when you're when did you realize you were a brand?
When did I realize I was a brand? Okay, so I would say when implementing strategies to reach the consumer, whoever I want to reach. When people start taking to you and you don't even realize you're a brand until people start reaching out to you in the background, like, what else you got? You putting out anything else? And I think once people start gravitating to your message or to what you have, I think you start to create a brand within yourself. So I think And when you're gone for a while, I haven't seen your face, like what's going on? I had to stop until I get 100%. I'm not gonna have to do it anymore on Facebook or anything like that. So I think I had to stop. I'm getting things done on the background to just kind of present and come out and launch in a bigger way. But I think it's important. I think that's when people want to see what you have or want to see what you have to offer. I think that's when you know you're a brand.
You're a brand. Yeah. Okay. So because when they're reaching out to you and asking you what's next and here we go, then you like I kind of didn't. But you've been building this for a long time though, so you already have an audience that looks at you a certain way, that looks at your strengths and know. One thing about Felicia, she's not gonna half step. One thing about Felicia, she it's gonna be together. So anything that Felicia's do, we know that it's gonna be together, which is a lot of pressure on yourself because you hold yourself to a higher standard than anybody. Nobody else can hold you that high. That high. You hold yourself that high. You're hard on yourself. Yeah.
Definitely hard on myself.
All right. So being that you've been building your brand for a long time, what made you pull the trigger?
I think me wanting to be an entrepreneurship, because I support a lot of people. A lot of people know I support them 100%.
Yeah.
And I think I give advice. I push women to start their own business. However, I never started my own.
Yeah.
And so I think me wanting and knowing I can start my own, and people wanting to hear what I have to say or wanting to see what I have to give. So like being a brand and business, I do feel like it's important to take the money that we have and instill it in ourselves. And I think that's one thing that I say, let me just pull my own trigger and just kind of get started with everything.
Okay. Alrighty, so what is a jewel that you can give to a young woman to stand on in starting out her whole, entrepreneurship, branding, whether that's in the career market of you working for someone and you're being a manager, a district manager, CEO, secretary, however, or if you're stepping out on your own and being your own entrepreneur, what would you give us to stand on?
I think one thing that I've always said to anyone that I've mentored is to don't allow opinions of others to stop you from reaching your full potential. Because a lot of times we look at other people, you get different opinions, but if God haven't given it to you to move forward, why let an opinion of somebody else stop you from doing what it is that you know you should be doing? I think we get stagnated by others and what they think of us. Yeah. And that's one thing that I really don't do. Yeah. Like, think what you want is your opinion, and I'm still gonna do what I feel like God is putting in me to do. Yeah.
Yes. Tell the viewers where we can follow Felicia.
So I am on Instagram, Phoebe Fee, Fierce Style Beauty. That's where you can find me, and I'm also on Facebook, Felicia Fox Gray, for now.
Alrighty. Yeah. So again, y'all reach out to her on Facebook, follow her on Instagram. You don't want to miss what my mentor has next in store, okay? So go ahead on now and go on and follow so you can already be in the know so you can see it, okay? So what we would like for you to do is make sure that you like, share, and follow all of Queendom's podcast on all of our major outlets. Also, check out queendomus.com. We have some new merch going on. All right. Queens, we want to connect with you. So reach out and let us know who you want to see on the show. Drop your ideas in the comments. See you next week where we're adding another jewel to your crown.
www.ascensiontracks.com